is that the report that's gonna substantiate the numbers on the page we're currently looking at?
It should.
It should? Okay. So give me just a minute to get there. Okay, so I now have the pages 1 to 13 of the detailed report and confirming that this is the totality of K-14 bond proceed expenditures. For that fiscal year.
For this fiscal year, yes.
The categorization of this is a little different than in prior years. It's not dramatically different. And I think the change in the accounting system also is part of the reason for some of these differences. But for each of the line items that say imported GL balances, how are we to determine whether those imported balances were K-14 appropriate expenditure?
Well, that, again, it goes back to the importing and the
so it's
exporting.
from the our old accounting software. We had to do an import of those general ledger balances and expenditures to the new accounting software. Unfortunately, it's representative of GL balances. However, in your comment, we can provide those expenditures.
And so these imported GL balances, the true description of the line items would simply be in prior year's reports of the same thing, and this is now being converted into.
Not prior year.
No, it's still current year. It's
Okay.
still current fiscal year. It's just when, unfortunately, the consultant who did the import wasn't able to actually break out that detail because
Did the import happen during this fiscal year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
And so that's why it kind of,
Okay, so I'm not. You guys didn't do anything wrong then. If that's the product of what that is, it probably would be very difficult to go back and retroactively update all of those to their correct line items. So I'm not going to take issue with that. It would be helpful if there was a means by which we could understand what the background for these imported GL balances are. And looking at the further categories: payroll cycle, payroll. Standalone batches, which last year we learned about payroll. Oh, now we have the first instance of there not being payroll here. That's good. Hourly services for financial consulting with A.M. Pesh and Associates at November 30th, 2023. Could someone enlighten us as to what that financial consulting, what nexus it shared with K-14 street construction?
And Betcha, he's our municipal advisor, so he is the one who gives us counsel on our bonds. He basically he helps with the financing. He helps us on basically doing arbitrage, on filing our CDI filing, on doing our disclosures every year. So most likely, I think that's probably for preparation of our 2022, fiscal year 2023 disclosure, probably what that charge is relating.
And then we have another professional services charge with Rick Engineering, based on it being an engineering company. I assume that's K-14 related.
I would imagine.
Correct.
You know, the question we had in prior years, and I don't know if I asked this question last year, I might not have, is how come in some instances we go through the effort of labeling K-14 expenses as K-14 expenses, and other ones we don't? What is the impetus behind that?
More specific.
Page 9 of 13 in this detailed report for reference.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
yeah, so it's, some of these are actually tracked through the fund, which is that account, that long string of account numbers on the top left. So like this fund, for example, is specifically for those bond proceeds expenditures. And essentially it's data entry that happens, so it's not automatic. Like it doesn't automatically pop in with that description of K-14.
Right, someone's doing that.
Yeah, so
Why are they doing it in some instances and not all of them?
so it's basically the description of the invoice is going to be dependent on what the invoice is. So sometimes if we get an invoice and it's for the road bond expenditures, the contractor won't put it's for K-14. However, it will be for K-14 expenditures. And so this is one of those instances where it was tracked by the actual fund and project number. And so the K-14 is basically just missing from the description of that invoice.
You said the contractor doesn't put the K-14 on their invoice.
So what happens, again, it's data entry. So sometimes our data entry clerks can sometimes miss that K-14. However, it does get audited, you know, going back to Jeff Lee's email, it does get audited about 4 or 5 different times. And so we verify that it is actually for this specific fund.
I'm very confident I'm misunderstanding you, so I'm gonna try to, if you can clarify here. It almost sounded like we expect the contractor to put on their invoice whether or not it should be K-14, rather than expecting the staff to know whether or not it's K-14.
No, okay, so yeah, I guess I should clarify. So
Thank you.
so that when we do the data entry, there is sometimes an issue where K-14 won't appear on the invoice description. However, it might be in the actual summary of the invoice. This report here only
Like the hyperlinked source document.
Yes,
Understood.
exactly. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I hope that.
Yes,
there you go.
thank you. And so, one of my questions concerns the payroll. If this is exclusively Fund 201 K-14 proceeds, does that mean that there is there any other fund that payroll is also paid through?
Not specific to this this bond.
In general though, city
Oh.
payroll. Is all city payroll being funneled through the K-14?
No.
Or are there other accounts where we would see the same payroll transactions elsewhere?
As far as the detail goes, it would be throughout the various different funds that we have. As far as this specific fund that's specific to the road bond expenditures, no, this would only be payroll expenses that were for the road bond.
Understood. And looking at this detail report, I had just indicated that almost the totality of the report up until this page 9, I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. Yes, the totality of the report from the top to page 9 is either payroll or account fluctuations from interest. And so then that would leave the sum of expenditures beginning in the middle of page 9 onward being money actually paid to people building roads. And so the sum of the expenses in that second category here, looking at page 9 and 13, from the middle emboldened rows all the way to the next page to its sum, it says that there was $1.8 million of debits, and the following page does not have, actually that's just a summary page, and that's a summary page. And so would it be fair to say that only this $1.8 million on page 10 and 13, that this is the money that was paid to contractors or whoever it may be that's actually building roads?
So our public works crew actually does some road repair, which is where some of those payroll expenses come from. So it's tracked independently. So it could be, it's basically a combination of the contractor, which is, page 9 and below. Is what you were referencing. So that's.
You might be mixing my two questions, which you did just answer my first question.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. My second one is about the difference, right? So I'm no longer concerned about the payroll stuff. What I'm doing is I'm seeing the difference in expenditures for payroll purposes or market adjustment versus the other expenditures, so I can figure out how much of this money was actually like handed to contractors and buying resources and materials.
Right, what you're talking about is in the middle of page 9, you see where it says, you see that blue text in the coding, the account number? That point forward till the end, the plan specifications and engineering on page 9.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah, and then through the construction account on page 11 would be, I believe, what you're seeking, those monies that were paid to contractors.
Does anyone off the top know what the total amount of K-14 bond proceed expenditures were?
For the fiscal year?
Right, I know I have the number in here somewhere, I just wanted to do quick math on the difference.
Not on the top of my head,
It's,
keeping me honest.
I think it was 3.4, 3.6 or something maybe? What was that?
Fiscal 23-24 expenditures, $2,213,000.
Yes.
That would be on
For
page
capital.
5.
Okay, I like that. There's only $400,000 or so that appears to have gone to payroll, et cetera, et cetera. The rest of this was all to our contractors doing stuff. And then I do have to, what was the amount of legal fees expended from K-14?
$0. Yes, on page 2.
Does the full report, not the detailed stuff we're looking at now, somewhere in here, is it gonna tell me what the fund balance is for April 8th? I see this one on this page, I'm just wondering in the, committee's report.
There is, it should be provided.
Page 5 of the.
That
summary here.
3665 number?
Yeah.
So on page 13 and 13 in the detailed report, it says the fund balance is 2.1 million. Why does the report say the fund balance is 3.6?
On the, say that, where are you getting the two?
I'm on page 13 of 13 of the detailed report for
Okay.
K-18, where it says Fund 201 for rehabilitation. It says the ending balance is 2173 as of 6/30, but on this report, it says the ending balance on 6/30 was 3665, and so that's a difference of $1.5 million.
So that's, that difference is actually the beginning balance, and it's actually listed on page, is it wrong? It's on the fund balance. So if you go to, the fund balance report, we have our beginning balance, and then that's about 5.
Can you help me with,
Yeah, if you, it's at the very beginning of.
okay, well, I get
Right
there.
after the map.
Yeah,
After
right
that.
after the map.
Fund balance report?
Yeah.
Yes, so that is where that ending balance is coming from. So it's your beginning fund plus your revenue, and then less your expenses, and then your ending balance.
So in the page you sent me to, total revenues 250,682. In the page we were looking at, total debits 2.585. I'm sorry, total credits 411. Why are the revenues and credits differing between those things? So they both say as of June 30, 2024. It says it on both pages.
What pages are?
I'm in that detail report that I struggled to get earlier.
Yes.
I'm at page 13 of 13 of that, and that says this is the fund summary for 201 on 6/30/2024. The page you sent me to also says that fund 6/30/2024. They both have the same columns for balance, expenses, and income, and I am.
If you look at page 2 of the detail report, it'll show you the total of the revenue. It says total revenue.
Page 2, in the detail report,
Right, correct. Page 2.
page 2.
It says total revenues, about a third of the way down.
I am not seeing what you.
Let's see, on page 2 of 13,
2 of 13, I'm there.
about a third of the page down, you see that it says total revenue, it's about center page.
There it is.
You see the 250 under total activity?
I see that. And so
Total activity is what we're tying.
And so this is supposed to line up with the front page that he directed us to.
Fund balance report.
And should it also, I mean, what is this number supposed to correspond to?
What is this? What can you say the number?
Sorry, it's gotta be a good way to, so the fund summary report, the last page that I'm looking at, that sort of started the dialogue. Then there's the page that Mr. Flores sent us to, the fund balance report at the front, and then there's the page that you and I are looking at right now. And I'm trying to figure out how those 3 pages containing what I think is the same information, how they're supposed to connect.
Right.
Oh, are you talking about the very, very last page of the fund summary?
Yes.
Okay, so what that is it's your debits less your credits. That's the ending balance. So it's a little bit of accounting jargon. So it's not actually revenues and expenditures, because in accounting, debits and credits are a little bit different. So that's what that fund summary is it's basically summarizing what your debits and credits are, but in accounting, right, your credits are usually in a revenue account, and then your debits are usually in an expense account. And let me know if I'm going a little all over the place, but.
Well, I guess I just want to know what does this ending balance mean?
So, like I said, it's the total activity, right? And it's your debits
I
minus your
understand that. I
credits.
have training in accounting, but I guess I still don't understand what that number for fund balance, ending balance of the fund on that
So-
date is different. I still don't understand that.
Yeah, so that ending balance isn't actually the fund balance because, like I said, it's debits, so it's not the fund balance because it's not including like the assets or the equity accounting portion of the report.
So
Yeah.
it's that current, it's the fiscal year balance, it's not the fund balance. It adds in your revenue, or your existing, your
So
fund balance.
your fund balance is basically including all of your accounting figures. That fund summary is just debits less, and so that's where that ending balance is, but it's not the fund balance.
So this one on the front page is how much money is in the bank account, right? And this money on this number on this page does not mean anything.
Well, it's how we tie it out at the end of the year, basically the debits and the credits, how much you spent in that fiscal year. So In the scheme of your how much you have in the bank, no, it doesn't impact that, but they should tie out to one another.
Okay, this one is what's in the bank. This is some deep level accounting for you.
It's
guys
how
to
you
make
track it
that
along the
case.
way to make sure that you don't, yeah.
Okay, and so our GL balances is the result of a change in the accounting software during the fiscal year. The change in the schedule of accounts from year to year is something that may not be known by city staff time. And so I think I'm satisfied with what these expenses are, without getting in the weeds on payroll commingling and that's complicated. But so the only things that I have taken issue with over the last several years that do not appear to be resolved still are the nomenclature, which you addressed earlier, and I appreciate that. And then the confirmation of the separate account. I know that the city attorney and I had discourse about this, but can our CFO confirm whether or not that the K-14 bond proceeds are held in a separate deposit account from any other accounts maintained by the city?
They are.
They are?
They are. The Mechanics Bank, we have a separate account where we would keep the bond.
Is there any reason why over the last couple of years, city management has never told us that or confirmed that with us? Never? I asked you guys this last year. Last year you were new and you didn't know yet.
No, I believe we did answer to that one, but there were other, but we have always a separate account.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure why it wouldn't have been. I know we're not going to be as open about banking information as we are going to be about accounting information. That makes sense.
You guys can redact an account number.
Yeah, we can. But I'm not going to. I'd have to check with city attorney and before I release anything there, because that's getting to a level of confidentiality that I'm not very comfortable.
Well, I'm not going to pressure you on that. That's
Yeah, but we do keep it in a separate account.
Yeah, okay. I will save my pressure for Mr. Lamelli on that one.
Do you have other questions?
I think I'm wrapping up, if that's all right.
It's great, because if you are, then I would move that I make a motion to approve the annual report for submission to the city council.
Public communication?
Well, the motion has not been seconded yet, and I still want to make sure I don't have any further questions.
Second it. So the motion is to
Submit,
Are you not, do you not want to show me the courtesy of making sure I don't have any further questions?
I believe I asked you.
yes.
Oh, that's what it says. I'm wrapping up right now. Let me make sure I don't have any more questions. I just need a minute.
Well, there's a motion that's been seconded to approve and submit to the city council.
I'm going to vote no to these. That's an effort to silence me before I've even told you guys. I said I'm about ready to wrap up.
All right,
So
all
trying to
those
silence
in
me.
All those in favor?
Nay.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
this is a roll
call.
call vote. So,
Oh.
Committee Member Cass,
Yes, I approve. Yes.
Chair Holden,
Yes.
Committee Member De La Rosa.
I'm sorry.
We're just approving, it's a
Approving.
motion on the table that to approve
Being done with no further discussion.
the report to council. The report to council.
I think you can wait 5 minutes.
Are you, was that yes? Yes. And Committee Member Reynolds.
No, absolutely not. I don't think I had any more questions, but I mean, the effort to
All right,
silence your
Motion
colleague.
passes.
The motion carries, and our meeting is adjourned.
Okay, can I ask you how you, have minutes for next year, when you don't need any minutes here?
The city management prepares it, and everyone on this committee rubber stamps it without second thought.
That's what I thought.
Really?
What I want to know is why the city council, when the other city council members said no. And no questions, these two women on the end, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, they,
But you're on your cell phone.
they stacked the board with
Never in the
additional
history of my
because they
4
want
years
him
on
to
this
be.
committee, my colleagues, members, and in city management.
They wanted a
allowed for the
perfunctory
report.
board, they don't want him
Sorry about
asking
that.
questions.
I am the only person that's ever done it. I have been ostracized, isolated by my colleagues because of their desire to pay fidelity to people that they don't even have relationships with.
Well, hey, Jonathan, John, hey, John, you have a new home with us.
Well, I'll challenge you.